Sit on down and pour yourself a glass.
And tune into your favorite podcast,
where things will be misquoted
and opinions ain't sugar-coated.
'Cause DJ and Kelly are locked and probably loaded.
Guys, welcome to Locked and Probably Loaded with DJ and Kelly. I'm your host, DJ Qualls, and I'm here with Kelly BLackheart. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, I'm so excited to be back. I've been really looking forward to coming
So,
back.
guys, this is our very first episode that is current. So, we've come current now. So, what is this, episode 9 or 10?
9.
It's episode 9, and so we had to record a bunch of these because my schedule was crazy, and also just to get your podcast listed on streaming services, you have to have a certain amount to go into. And we have now made it through that period, and now we're current. And I would just want, first of all, I want to thank you guys so much for listening to us. The response has been amazing.
Yes, it was like the best possible outcome because there is a big risk in banking 8 episodes because if people fucking hate it,
Yeah, we've already
we
gone
have
8
no way to
episodes down
adjust
the wrong
it.
path.
So we were so thrilled that people are loving it. Thank you to everybody who signed up for Patreon. Like, I'm already obsessed with everybody in Patreon. They've been so cool and responsive, and I'm really excited to. By the time this comes out, we'll have done our most recent live show. But if you want to join patreon.com/loadedpod, we do a live happy hour Zoom every month. You guys will be able to talk to us, ask questions, all that good stuff.
This won't air before our next...
No. So you'll have just missed it.
yeah.
But we had a really fun time.
But if you subscribe to Patreon, the live happy hours are on.
Yeah, they go up there.
Yeah, they go up on our Patreon account, so you can see what the fun that you're missing out on. Actually, this one, I'm bringing gifts for you guys that I bought, thinking about both of you, and I can't wait for you to have
so
them.
Nervous.
Yeah, you should be nervous.
He texted me while he was in Kentucky, and he's like, "Hey, I just got a package to my house. It's really big, and it can't be sitting outside the door." He's like, "Can you go pick it up?" I didn't realize it was going to be that heavy.
Yeah, there's a lot of good
And
stuff
now
in
I'm
there.
terrified.
There's a lot of good stuff in there. All the best stuff is mine, though.
Oh, okay.
But there's some stuff. I bought you something, and I bought Isaac something. And I can't wait for you to open them live on air. And the people who come to our happy hour will be able to see that. So it's an example of some of the things that we do. I'm altruistic and kind, and everything I do is for a pure reason. And you will see that over the course of
He's been
my journey on this
threatening me
podcast.
with this gift
I
for
really
weeks.
have. I really have. I've been keeping I can't. I don't want to tip it. I'll tell you all about it. It's gonna be great. You'll love it.
Okay, well, tell us about your last month. You've been gone.
Yeah, I've been.
I don't like you leaving for that long. That
I don't
was
like me
actually
leaving.
That was not fun.
So
I've gotten so used to hanging out with you all the time.
So I thank you. That makes me feel good, and I feel the same. And I went away to shoot a movie called Carved in a Shaker Village, which is an open air museum like Colonial Williamsburg. And we were talking about this a little bit before we started the podcast. The Shakers were a group of religious people that moved into the wilderness and like did away with comfort. Like they left all their cushions at home. They left sex at home.
Am I a shaker?
Yeah,
Wait
exactly.
a second. Fuck.
No, because you live in comfort.
Okay.
Everything in your house is padded.
That's true.
And
Even
not-
the walls.
and not just for your mental health. So I did that, and I got there, and I was talking to Ty, and he was like, it sounds like one of those places they send gays to get reprogrammed. And I'm
Conversion camp,
and I'm
yeah.
like, it kind of does feel like that. I mean, what if this was a gigantic ruse that somebody spent like $3 million to try?
I would be so pissed. I'm like, you made me read a script for your conversion therapy.
But I made Kelly read the script, decide if I was going to do the movie or not. But then I thought, how stupid are the gay conversion people? You don't make it in the woods. Put it in the middle of a city above a gay bar.
Like bottomless brunch and conversion. Like, what are we?
Positive
A drag show
reinforcement.
conversion
Yes.
therapy. It's like, yes, take them to their natural environment.
Yes.
You can catch them so easily.
Exactly. I mean, the woods? Come on now. But I was there with a bunch of our producers were all like New York City people, and they're like, God, it's so relaxing here. And I'm like, I'm in hell. I left this on purpose. I grew up in the wilderness. I moved to the city on purpose. It's not for me. I don't find that relaxing. I find it scary. I find it isolating.
You really have to like sit with your own thoughts.
Yeah, and who wants to do that?
That is a tough time.
But also, I'm highly social, and I need a central gathering place. And when we were in the wilderness, and here's the thing, adults, when you do a horror movie as an adult, it's you, one other adult actor, and children. Mm-hmm. They were all like 19 to like 23, and so I had nothing in common with them, and so I had no place to be other than set or in my room with no cushions.
Mm-hmm. You sent me a video of your room, and I immediately got depressed.
Yeah, it was depressing.
For you. I was like, oh fuck.
I'm sure it's lovely. They did bring the internet in for us. They did. They didn't have it before.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I was trying to get you to send me a picture of you looking like you were held hostage in the room, but you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, because I didn't want to disrespect hostages.
Yeah. I'm sure that would be triggering.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm so happy to be back in civilization. I'm happy to see you. My first day back, Kelly, So my flight there was 10 hours delayed. Fuck you, American Airlines. You guys are out of control. Although the Biden administration today just made some laws that said that when that happens, they have to give you your money back. You don't have to ask for it. You don't have to know the rules and all the fine print. My flight was 10 hours delayed going out there. I had to change airlines, get my bags back. Getting your bags back at LAX is hard. Mm-hmm. And then I moved to Delta, flew overnight on the red eye to Cincinnati, went to a motel and slept for 6 hours, and then drove 3 hours from Cincinnati into the wilderness to do this movie. So I got there not in the best mental space. Yeah. Then I was in the wilderness, and then I left, and my flight, Kelly and I had plans, she's going to pick me up in the airport, and we're going to go have big fun. And my flight back was delayed almost 5 hours on American Airlines.
Yeah,
and
you were supposed to get in at 10 p.m.
Yeah, and I got home at like 2:45 a.m. So how many ever hours that was? It was, so the next day I had plans with Kelly to go day drinking to make up for that, and I wasn't feeling well, but Kelly had already done her hair and manipulated me into going out.
He made the plan. He goes, let's go out at 2, and I'm like, great. So I get ready, and then at 2:03 I text him, I'm like, are you about good or do you need more time? And you go, I just woke up. You said something about like my tummy doesn't something like that.
I had a dodgy tummy. I go,
you're telling me now after I did my hair? And then you go, fine, I'll go. And I said, great.
Yeah, exactly.
I really didn't pressure you.
I know, no, but you know.
But you wanted to go out.
I wanted to lay down and cramp.
But when you were really pissed off about your flight being delayed the night before and that we couldn't hang out, I go, well, let's just day drink tomorrow. And you're like, wait, that's an option? Yay, I'm happy again. Yeah, but so I didn't want you to get in the way of your own blessings. Yeah, but I don't block your blessings.
Oh, wow, you really were looking out for me and not the fact that you just done your fucking hair. I woke up feeling like really crappy, and so I'm in a sleeping pattern right now that I can't get out of. When you shoot a horror movie, it's all at nights, and so you wake up at 3:30 p.m., go to work at 5:30, and then you work until 7 o'clock in the morning. And I did that for a month, and I'm having a really hard time pulling out of it. And so now I'm going to bed around between midnight and 2, waking up 4 hours later, being up for 5 hours, and then getting to sleep around 11 and waking up at 1 p.m. And I can't sort of break out of this. So I thought that going out would help that, and it didn't. Mm. Was it fun, though? I don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah, we had a great time.
What did we do?
We went to... That's why you don't remember. I don't... we went to Foxfire.
Oh, my friend was dressed as a pirate.
Yeah, your friend was dressed as a pirate. No, that was Sunday.
Was it really?
Yeah, Friday was different.
All these days look alike.
I actually can't remember Friday that much.
So the other day we were at one of our local spots, Foxfire, and it's an old man bar. Like everybody in there is in their mid to late hundreds. I love it. They have
it doesn't matter what you look like, you will get hit on.
Yeah, exactly.
I go in there looking disgusting, and people are like, "Wow, nice overalls." I'm like, thank you.
Show me your ankles. But I like this bar because they have 2 shifts of drinkers. Like they have a daytime drunk section. The bar opens at what, 9?
8.
No,
I think.
8 o'clock in the morning. And they have a daytime alcoholic section and a nighttime alcoholic section, and sometimes they overlap. And it's just interesting people watching. The bartender, when we went in there the last time, was so dismissive and awful. Like, I ordered a rum and Diet Coke, and he did this. That's interesting.
Yeah, he goes, "That's an interesting drink." I was like, "A Captain and Diet."
But
but the thing is too, is it's the darkest fucking bar in the valley,
Yeah.
so you can go in there in the middle of the day and kind of feel like it's nighttime, and then you
you don't
walk
feel like a
out, you're
dirtbag.
like, "I'm a piece of trash."
It's delayed dirtbag
Yeah.
syndrome. But I kind of like having there it is. For our Patreon people, I kind of like having my balls stepped on when I order a drink. Rough me up a bit. It doesn't make me mad. It took me back, like taken aback. I was taken aback by it, but after a while, I got used to it. Like
he wasn't happy to be there.
Like I do in all my relationships. He wasn't happy to be there. Also, he was filling in for Rhonda, who's the normal bartender.
we love Rhonda.
But anyway, my friend shows up, and my friend is an actor, and he's buff and good looking and always in a good mood, super positive. The last Kelly met him like a few times, well, like
a couple months ago.
It was a few months ago.
Yeah.
And Kelly met him, and he was in love with a new girl and bright and happy and talking about his future. And then we saw him on Sunday with suffering like a pretty decent amount of sudden weight loss, dressed as a pirate.
He was wasted. I mean, one of the things he talked about when we saw him a couple months ago was that he was sober and all that stuff, and he was wasted, dressed like a pirate, handing out coins to people.
Yeah.
And I kept going, "What? Can you? What's with the outfit? Like, why are you working a Ren fair right now?" And he would just avoid the question. I think we asked him what the deal with the costume.
Yeah,
was.
I didn't understand. Also, why he was
5 or
giving
6
me
times, and he never told us.
Sacagawea dollars. I was like, why are you giving me $1 coins? And I didn't realize it. Was it until today? Or no, it was like a few days later. I was talking to you, and I was like, "Oh, he's a pirate. They were gold coins."
Yeah, but nobody else there was dressed up, and he wouldn't address it.
We talked about this on the podcast before. We all recognize signs of a breakup.
Yeah.
It's like we talk
posting
about
thirst traps.
Yeah.
Or costumes.
We talk about your gym selfies or eating chocolates in a bubble bath after, and I was like, oh, that person just went through a breakup. Pirate costume is high up on the list. I was like, homie has been recently broken up with. Buddy, I'm not making fun of you. I'm celebrating you.
By a har.
Yeah, he was broken up with by a har.
No, she's probably a very nice lady.
She was great.
Yeah, she was really nice.
She was stable, but that's the problem,
Yeah.
though. So if I could offer any relationship advice, try to date your like kind. If you're not a stable person who likes to go out a lot, don't think that you can change that in your 40s. That's very hard to change. Change it before you get with the person. But if you meet somebody, you cannot conform to meet them. Otherwise, you're going to wind up wearing a costume, like a pirate costume, at 2:00 in the afternoon, handing out Sacagawea dollars.
It was good times.
I like that bar, though.
Yeah, me too.
Do they still have hot dogs?
They still do. They have hot dogs and I think pizza sometimes. So you know this bar.
Sometimes
Yeah,
they
I've
have
been
like
a
a
couple
potluck and people just bring food in, and I'm like, I don't know about that.
Oh yeah, they had potluck. We were there for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
They had potluck.
I had like corned beef hash or
Yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I like it. Anyway, this is the thing. When people come to California, everybody wants to do like sunshine things, but because we live in the sunshine, sometimes when it's really beautiful, you want to go sit in a dark place to sort of get away from it.
I think that's just your personality.
Is that just
I don't
me?
know if that's being used to the sun. You were just on a movie all nights in the freezing cold.
And I'm wearing sunglasses inside
You didn't
right now.
miss the sun at all.
I didn't miss the sun. It ages you.
Yeah. And that you're a vampire.
I am a vampire. I'm going to live forever. Probably not outside of an institution, as Gary once
Except
said.
yesterday, DJ was quickly vacillating between I'm going to kill myself and I want to live forever.
Yeah. And then I settled, I was on the fence up until right now. Look, somebody sent us an email.
We got a handful of emails
What's this say?
and Instagram messages.
Kelly and DJ. You got first billing there.
You want Isaac to read it?
Yes, please.
This is from Pepper K. Kelly and DJ, this podcast has quickly moved up on the top of my list. I love the honesty, vulnerability, and the humor. Kelly, thank you for speaking so openly about your depression and negative thoughts. I don't know who Steve is, but I'm gonna to blame him for my negative thoughts too. Thank you for sharing your experiences. I can really relate to so many things you've said. DJ, I met you last year at the SPN convention in New Jersey.
New Jersey is a fun show.
with my sister Donna. You took the time to talk to us, not as fans, but as people. And I'm glad to hear the same genuine personality in this podcast. You guys make me, I can't read. You guys also make me laugh out loud a lot. I wish you both lots of luck with this podcast. I'm looking forward to hearing more. Thank you both. Pepper K.
I love the name Pepper.
Thank you, Pepper K. We actually guessed your name the other day in a trivia. It was Jimmy Carter's daughter, and it was like,
Oh yeah,
and we
couldn't think of her
it
name.
It was some sort of food. It was
soup.
It was soup based, and there used to be a Campbell soup called Pepper Pot, and so I was like, maybe Pepper sounds like a good Southern name, Pepper.
Yeah, but we were wrong.
But we were wrong.
Amy.
It was Amy Carter because Amy's.
But Pepper's a better name.
Amy's has a brand of soup.
Yeah.
But
thanks for writing, Pepper.
yeah, but thank you for writing. Also, Isaac, you have an amazing voice. You really do. Do you do voiceover work?
I'm just getting my voiceover reel together now.
It's so.
You guys want to hire him?
Voiceover work is so culty. There's a lady who I think her name is Barbara. So guys, when you are watching a movie, extras are not allowed to talk. So when there are big crowd scenes, there's like 9 people who live in Hollywood that are controlled by a woman. I think her name is Barbara. And she controls these people or decides who does it. And they come in and they provide like background voices. All the conversations that you hear are the same 9 people. It's called Loop Group. And it's a job that every actor dreams of getting, because once you get residuals on everything that you do forever. And you make like $900 a session.
Right.
Like it's such a great job. And anyway, I guess now I'll never be hired because I said that Barbara controls these people. So Pepper, thank you first of all for listening to us and writing to us. We try to be as honest as possible. Yesterday, Kelly and I were talking. There's a big, people, we really hate it when people say, I'm just honest, as an excuse to be a total asshole. They're very different things. You can be honest and be kind to people and be tactful and still get your point across. And I want us to be as honest as possible. This is the most free I've ever felt in my professional life, where I can just say whatever I want and how I feel about things. And if it's too crazy, Isaac can edit it out so I don't get canceled. But speaking of being honest and vulnerable, I also, basically this podcast is us just shooting the breeze and talking about what we think is funny, riffing off each other. But every now and then we had an episode where we talked about being depressed and that kind of stuff, because it's a real life situation.
Yeah.
And so I have something that happened to me recently that I want to talk about. And I told Kelly I want to talk about it on the air because I want your feedback too. It's a situation that was really shocking, and I don't know how to handle it. And very few times in my life has something happened where even with the passage of like a week, I still can't get my mind around how to address it, or if I want to address it. So I've been friends with somebody for 17 years, and I recently was in a situation where they were left alone with my backpack, which I travel with. It's with me everywhere I go. It's my work bag. It's always on a plane with me. And I keep a tight inventory of everything in it just so I don't run out of things that I need, like medications, or there's always a little food in there, just stuff that you need. And I was separated from the bag for a while, and then a couple days later, I realized he had gone through my bag and taken things. I've known him for 17 years. He's two prescription medications he took small amounts of. One of them is my anxiety medication.
Right.
And I realized it because there was a little bit of food missing. And I was like the middle of the night, and I was like, oh, I think there's a small bag of Doritos and a granola bar in there. And it was gone. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then I was like, I remembered a conversation where he referenced 2 things in my bag on another day that were things that were in zippered pockets that you would have to go into.
Yeah, because I think normally you would be like, oh, I must have misplaced this.
Of course,
or
that's what
like
you always
that.
do.
Yeah.
And he referenced 2 things that were in my bag. So the only way he would know that I would, and there were 2 things that you wouldn't think that would be in a bag.
Right.
Well, my passport was one of them, and people usually don't travel domestically with their passport. And another one was a specific brand of medication that I have in my bag that's at the very bottom of my bag. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, you've been through my stuff.
Yeah, violating.
And then I was shocked about it, and then I became angry that I was shocked because I started looking at the last 17 years. So this guy will throw things at me that I can't catch because
Like literally.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when I don't, it humiliates me, and he knows it does it, and he's done it for 17 years.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, for the people who don't know what the bigger meaning of that is, when you grow up as a gay guy, little boys don't know why you're different, but they know you're different, and they don't want to hang out with you. They don't want to play with you. And so I grew up feeling pretty lonely, and I never had like the experience of playing sports and that kind of stuff. And also the catching of things is a distinctly male throwing things at each other and seeing who can catch it, and you're applauded if you do, right? I never had that. So whenever I can catch things, but if you throw them at me, and especially if you do it with intent, it humiliates me so much that I can't do it.
Yeah, and he probably does it like fast things where you're not paying attention.
And he's done it for years and years and years, and I've let it go. The other thing is, I was really tired coming out of the thing, so I'm lazy. Also denigrates my career and my accomplishments, and it's always been this way. And I've just chosen to not notice it. And so when this latest thing happened, I was like, is it that big of a deal that he went through my stuff? Is it that big of a deal that small amounts of medication that I do have access to and prescriptions to were taken from me? Am I making it too big of a deal? Is it worth sort of addressing? Because I know if I address it, it's going to be so emotionally expensive, because he's also the prodigal son. Anytime he does anything, he gets out of it doing this. Come on, man. Any bullying behavior.
A joke.
Yeah, relax.
Yeah.
Which also plays into sort of
you're highly emotional, and I'm just a logical guy that
be a man.
Yeah.
That kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
And so I didn't address it. I haven't addressed it yet. And then in a group text with two other people, this guy has the nerve to violate my privacy, treat me like this all this time, and then takes a poke at me for being sleepy and lazy.
Yeah.
After I've just come off working 13 hours at night, through the night. And so I left the situation thinking, well, I'm not going to address it until I know how to address it, because I was so angry. I actually wrote back a response to the poke, and I knew I didn't send it, but I screen grabbed it just so I had said it out loud. And because I don't want to be an angry person, and also I was taking out my option of preserving the friendship, responding in that way, because there's no way to get back from the things that I said that were true, by the way. And it basically was like this, but I'm not saying these things to you because it violates my code as a gentleman that I've set for myself, and I don't want to be this person. But I didn't send it. But now some time has passed, and I really don't know if I want to preserve the friendship. I don't even know if I want to give him an opportunity to explain it. I don't know if I want to address it.
Yeah.
And so the thing I'm having a problem with, is it morally okay for me to just cut off contact completely, never address why I'm doing it, and just disappear from this person's life? Is that okay?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I think
because that feels aggressive to me.
I get it, and you and I are so similar in that way. And I had a friendship of the same time kind of dissolve recently, and that was the thing.
The person I know.
Yeah, loyalty is a blindness, right? And so there are some people who look at you and realize how loyal you are, and they can do whatever they want to you because you'll always still be there. And when people talk about like even relationships, like, oh, I just want unconditional love. I don't think unconditional love should be a thing. Like, outside
have to suffer for it.
Yes, outside of maybe parents unconditionally loving their children, like you shouldn't ever be looking for unconditional love. I want friends who are going to hold me accountable. I want friends who I can have real conversations with, not just be like, oh, well, that's just Kelly, she'll do it. And
I never thought about that. But unconditional love actually has inherent in it overlooking things that you don't need to overlook.
Yeah, and at some point you just go, what is this friendship doing for me? Because it's hard to then be around that person anymore, because you're doing it out of the obligation of like, well, we've been friends for so long and this is what they expect. But every time that we hang out, it's so emotionally expensive. Like, it's so draining. Yeah. I it's one of the best things that I've done. And I don't mean to be callous about it either. It was like a great friendship for a long time, but it was too taxing on me. They didn't care about me as a person. They cared about what I could offer them. Sometimes the access I had to things or how I could help them solve their problems. but never asked me how I was doing, never asked how work was going, never asked about anything in my career. It was always about them. And I'm like, what? This is supposed to be a give and take.
And
like,
it's interesting that you said that, because I did send him, I couldn't, after I'd sort of gotten some perspective on it, I did, when he poked me, instead of sending back that awful thing, I was like, I'm at a birthday party right now, but I'm thinking about this thing that happened, and said what happened. And he didn't address it. His next thing was, well, whose birthday is it? And I was like, even if I was dead wrong, which I'm not, even if I was dead wrong about the thing, the fact that he cares so little about me when I tell him that something has hurt me.
Yeah.
And that is the thing that I made a pros and cons list of, like, of trying to address it in a way, or maybe just suck
like
it up,
salvaging or dropping the relationship.
And the only way to salvage it would be for me to ignore that this happened and not address it, and get past it on my own. And I couldn't think of a reason to salvage the relationship. And I really don't want to talk to him ever again, and I don't want to try to preserve it or give him the reason why. But that's what I'm struggling with. I'm struggling with that feels so callous to me, because I do feel a little complicit in this, because you teach people how to treat you. And sure, over the years, he has done things over and over and over again, knowing they embarrass me with that, and it gives him some sort of perverse pleasure because he still does it. And he did it around the time of he did it last time I saw him. Yeah. But also I taught him that was okay.
Sure, but I think as you grow up and you start to get to know yourself a lot more and start to feel really, really secure in yourself, there's even more danger to allowing that stuff to continue. And to me, it's the betrayal of myself, right? Like, my last relationship that I was in, I kind of felt the same way. I'm like, I allowed him to treat me this way for so long. And the worst part about it is I didn't trust myself anymore, because I was like, you know better than this. Like, and by continuing to allow him to have any access to me, it would be so disrespectful to myself. And I'm far more important than this person is, you know?
And I guess I never thought of it like that. And I also, by me saying that I taught him to do that, doesn't give me any credit for getting to a place where I've grown past that and don't find it acceptable anymore. Maybe I taught people to do that kind of stuff because I was not coming from a place of strength or thought about my own feelings.
Or it's not that you taught him that, it's just you accepted the love that you thought you deserved at the time, and now you know you deserve more than that.
And the friendship did happen at a time in my life where that kind of engagement, because I was having success in my career for the first time. He was a cool Hollywood person. I felt lonely. I wanted to be accepted as a cool Hollywood person too. And so the reasons for accepting all that stuff probably were a bit of shame and self-preservation and all the things that I was dragging behind me. But the thing is, it's so funny because I played this on the show, but this keeps popping back up into my head. Hold on a second. By the way, I'm wearing sunglasses today because I left my glasses on the back of a toilet in a bar in the South. Hold on one second. So this keeps popping in my head. Let's see if I can.
Why can't you treat me? I would be treated by any stranger on the street because I am not one of your fans.
And then she gets choked. But that's the thing is, also there was a little bit of that thought in there too. I was like, I get treated so much better by people that don't even know me. And certainly out of my friend group, I'm not usually treated like that. But then I start questioning myself, well, is it because you're used to being treated so well by other people that this guy is sort of being real with you? And so it's this whole fucked up way of thinking to justify behavior of somebody else. I don't act like a celebrity or like that my job is so great around this person. I don't do anything. As a matter of fact, I denigrate myself.
Yeah. He does a lot of things to kind of tear you down so that you don't, in his head, he's probably like, well, I don't want his ego to get too big. But it's like, why would you ever want to be friends with somebody who wasn't like, dude, you're fucking amazing. Like, look at all this shit you're doing. Like, why would you want to surround yourself with people who want to dim your light?
I know.
And I've been there, so it's not a judgment thing, you know.
And that's
It's
exactly
like,
the kind of advice I would give to somebody who told me this. It's just so.
It's hard because it is still a relationship that you were involved in for so long, and that is hard when you consider yourself to be a fiercely loyal person. Is like, but at the same time, one of the best things to happen when you have one of those relationships where you kind of, the wheels start turning and you're like, maybe this isn't the best thing. When they do something that's big enough for you to have a reaction to, take advantage of that and absolve yourself. Because if you let this thing go, then it could be a while before he does anything that's big enough to be mad about. And then if you cut the relationship off because he called you lazy down the road, it's like, Jesus, he's so sensitive.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? So,
and that's exactly what it would be.
You at least have the excuse. Be like, this was the straw that broke the camel's back.
You get into whataboutism when it applies directly to you. Like, what if he doesn't know he does it? What if it's my fault for not addressing it and curbing the behavior? But the thing is, I've addressed it in small ways over the years, and nothing has ever changed.
But this also isn't the first time that you've had to salvage the friendship either, you know? So it's like...
very early on, he did something like in month 3
so
that I had to overlook. That was something that was egregious.
Right.
I just feel bad about it. The thing is, I hate that this is how it's going to end. I'm mourning the loss of something, even though the loss is probably good for me. I am still in a place where it hurts me.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm just so bummed about it. And also, I'm pissed. That's the other thing. I am mad. And I'm mad that I allow somebody to do this. I'm also mad that you respect me so fucking little. You go through my belongings.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and I'm mad that I'm mad that I'm shocked, because I shouldn't be shocked, because this is a guy that used to take girls' cameras and they would ask for photos, and he would act like he was having a hard time taking the photo and then go through their pictures. Ugh. And all of this stuff.
And that's even more so. It's like, this isn't somebody you want to have in your life. You know, it's just like, those are all really low character things to do. And at the end of the day, that is really important, to be surrounded by people you're like, I trust this person. I would trust them around my other friends. I trust that they wouldn't steal from people, that they like all of those. That's a big deal. And growth is painful as fuck. Like, that's another thing that we should address, because growth, like, a lot of people stay in the shit that they're in because growth is uncomfortable, and being comfortable even in toxicity is just what's familiar, and our brains do the things that are familiar to protect us from the unknown, right?
And we
growth
do
is
gymnastics to avoid pain and avoid hurt and justifying behavior, so we don't have to address it, because growth is painful. Exactly. And our brains want to protect us so much from anything that's uncomfortable, is that we will
just keep doing the same thing, because you're at least used to the pain. We don't know what happens when the fucking flower sprouts out from out of the concrete. Somebody could pick you. You know, you could get run over by a lawnmower, but at least you're not stuck under the cement.
That's really good.
You might get hit by a car later, is maybe the metaphor. Hopefully not.
But you're doing your best. You can't.
I'm trying.
You can't make decisions based on what if. You have to make decisions on what is, and it's so easy to say these things, but there's a lot of pain that's attached to that. But the sort of the proof of this, the only person I told about this as after it happened, I told Ty about it, and his response was the response you would expect from somebody that loves you. I am so sorry that this happened, and this is wrong. And I was like, he was like, you don't have to address it. There's no time attached to that. Just take your time and see and process it. But it was like, that really sucks. And that's what love is. Love is hearing somebody and not being told that, and then asking, what birthday party are you at?
Right. Yeah, this guy is somebody who doesn't see you for who you are. He sees you for whatever picture he's made up in his mind, and it's really fucking lonely when you're surrounded by people who don't actually see you.
I said out loud to myself, I was like, this motherfucker thinks he can do this to me. And I was like, I ain't nobody's hoe. And I was like, but am I anybody's hoe? No, I'm nobody's hoe.
You're my hoe a little bit.
I am your hoe a little bit.
It's just a little hoe.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But whose birthday party was it?
Yeah, honestly, whose was it?
Here's the thing. It was a birthday party that I skipped out on because I thought the venue was closer to my house. So I was lying.
Oh my God, you're just as bad as him.
No. But it was the only way I could think, because I made a deal with myself that if I said that and made it a third person thing, that he would apologize to me, and that would be proof to me. It's like, you know how, I don't know if I've done this on air, but you guys know that I do it, how I ask Siri to flip a coin for me, and I will follow whatever the coin says.
Yep.
It was my way of flipping the coin with him and giving him an out, but I knew him so well that he would never, ever be able to do. I did those things. That really sucks.
And that's the thing too, if that gives you any solace, is like, you did give him the opportunity to make it right in that moment, and he still chose not to. He is not the type of person who is going to take accountability unless you force him to. And then at that point, like, forcing somebody to apologize to you
ridiculous.
is fucking worthless. You know, if I'm getting an apology from you, I want you to understand what you did, and I want the actions to be different moving forward. And he just doesn't seem like the type of person that's willing to do that for you. And that's sad, but also it's freeing to have that information, because now you don't have to invest in something that makes you sad.
You're right.
Even though it's going to be painful regardless, though.
That's the thing. Also, I'm mad that I'm in a fucking situation where I have to hurt through something that I didn't cause.
Yeah.
And I get it that the price of love is heartache, and the price of being close to people is that you're going to have to deal with this stuff. But I'm just pissed off at the situation. I'm pissed off because I'm I'm doing my thing. I'm doing my best right now. I've embarked on this new endeavor. I feel good. I don't. This is also the first time in my life where I don't feel like that my film career is responsible for my happiness, which was a fucked up relationship I had with Hollywood for years. I don't feel any of those things anymore. So I'm doing well. And then to have somebody push me down into this, to mire me in this shit, and I have to carry all these heavy feelings when I just don't want to. Yeah. It makes me angry.
Your life is threatening to him. You're living the dream, and anything he can do to keep you feeling small puts him on some, at least in his mind, some level playing field with you where he doesn't have to feel regretful about his life.
But I don't think he knows he does it.
Sure, maybe not. But at some point, we're all fucking adults, right? And we have to have some level of self-awareness. And it's not like you haven't said anything throughout your friendship.
Yeah.
If he thought your friendship was so important, he would have at least acknowledged something.
I don't hold anybody responsible for being the victim of Appalachian dentistry. Like, if you grew up where I grew up, it was medieval, and I experienced it. I left it behind, and I'm not punishing people for it.
Yep, exactly. Well, I'm proud of you for at least acknowledging that this isn't something you want to put up with anymore. And whether or not, and also the thing is you don't have to make the decision right now.
That's the thing.
You know, like
this may be a little bit of making the decision.
Yeah.
But I don't think he listens to the podcast.
No, he doesn't support you at all. He's not listening to this. Are you kidding?
Exactly.
We actually have him on the phone right now.
I didn't steal it. The bag gave him to me.
See, that's it. And that's the other thing. I mean, this is the last, because I want to move on from this, but that's the other thing, is that if he would have asked me for anything in the bag,
would have given it.
I would have given it to
100%.
them. I mean, I'm protective. The thing is, like, I will abuse a lot of things, but prescription medication, I kind of have a reverence for, because, you know, I was sick when I was a child. So it's not something I would do. And I probably would have bitched about it, but I probably would have given him a couple of each things that he asked me for, because he asked me for them. But he couldn't give me the courtesy of that. He just cares a little about my feelings and respects me so little that he just thinks he can take things that belong to me. Anyway, Kelly, thank you for that. And guys, I just want to share that with you too, in case you're going through anything like that. I mean, we've all had people that were close to disappointed us, and I think that the first thing is to make an excuse for their behavior because it's too expensive, and also you get so used to relationships that you value them for fucked up reasons. You value the history of it, and you do feel disloyal. Yeah. And you don't need to feel that, because I think you said it the best, and I've never thought about this before. The idea that love that's unconditional, that's not your parent, is right. It's open to, basically can be exploited for. I'll let you do whatever you want to do to me.
Generally, the people that say, I mean, when women say it, it feels like a more like romantic thing. But when I hear men say, I just want a woman who's loyal and it gives me unconditional love, I'm like, oh, you're going to cheat. And then you're going to go, baby, where was the unconditional love? I made a mistake. Like it feels like a slippery slope to getting an out every time. And I think we all should be a little bit more responsible with our relationships and how we treat people and how we make them feel.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I do feel a little better.
Great. I love that.
And I'm going to get drunk and forget about it. So Patreon people, some of the video cut out in the middle of this. So if you want to hear the parts, you'll have to download the actual podcast. Is that right?
No,
because
I'll put
the audio will be there?
Yeah, the whole episode will be there on video. I'll just have a picture of you guys if the video
I have
out.
a picture of my penis that I sent to
People
Ty
like that a
once.
lot.
I have it on my phone already. I'll just put it in
Okay,
there.
perfect. Just put that on there.
You want to do one more question?
And put the
first?
Eiffel Tower behind it.
Let's go back to the email. Let's see what we got.
Okay, here's a good question.
Oh, Tubi. Why is Tubi on here?
It's
I watch Tubi nonstop now. I just found out about Tubi, and I watched The Block on Tubi. That's Tubi.
Oh, that's the wrong channel.
Tubi.
But I watched. That's so weird. I was just watching Tubi. That's why I was late coming to the car, because I was waiting there for my hair to dry, and was watching The Block.
Tubi.
By the way, a lot of people are telling me that they're starting The Block
Oh,
because
really?
because I talked about it so many times on the
We
show.
can start a block community. I need to start watching.
But that means you have to start. That means I have to start doing
You
things.
send me videos. I get the gist.
I love The Block. You're thinking about what I'm thinking about, right? I sent you that video of a guy.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's
Jesus.
racist?
How'd you get away with that?
I don't know. Like, this was 2019.
So, guys, in the 2017 season of The Block, one of the guys, watch it, and did something so crazy offensive that I couldn't believe it.
I mean, you could just say what it is.
He dresses up as a geisha with a complete white face and serves food.
And he like shuffles around going, arigato.
Yeah. And one of the women did this with no irony. Wow, this is just like, I feel like I'm in a foreign travel experience. And I was like, oh my God, Australia.
He was basically like what is his name? The actor from the old days.
Al Jolson, who
always played Asian characters.
No. I was talking about the guy who did blackface, and it was like he had a whole career with doing blackface. Al Jolson did in the 1920s. No, I know you're talking about. He played this detective, but he was a white guy, and he did the most like stereotypical.
It was
was it Lon Chaney? I don't want to blame Lon Chaney for something he didn't do.
He played like Charlie Chan or something.
Charlie
like that.
Chan.
What was his fucking name? Was it Mickey Rooney?
No, it wasn't Mickey Rooney. No,
but he used to play a lot.
He did it once in that Truman Capote book movie, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
This
Breakfast
guy.
At Tiffany's.
Who is this guy?
Earl.
Please don't let it be
by a bunch of dudes.
Please don't let it be Mary Pickford.
It's yeah, I don't know, whatever. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, they were. We watched some of those clips of
this
like.
Is not
old
excusing
movies.
it, but it was in the 30s and 40s.
Right,
This was in 2017.
Yeah. This.
So the thing is about that is because we're not there anymore. It's jarring to see, but it's so jarring you can't believe what you're seeing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also the fact that it got past. I mean, this is a major network show. The fact that they were like, "Oh, what a fun thing!"
Yeah, but I mean, they rely heavily on the misogyny, homophobia, race. Like it's all light. It's like an hors d'oeuvre of racism. It's not a whole meal. No, it actually probably is a whole meal.
Yeah, I mean,
guy dressed as
the thing about The Block also is that like. The older host will say things to like make gay jokes at the guys if the room is decorated too well, or like women are always out shopping because that's what they do.
Women bay shopping.
Yeah, exactly. Women bay shopping. Idine.
All right, emails. What do we got?
We have some questions. You want to take a question?
Yeah, I would love a question.
Let's see here. Kelly and DJ, your banter is the best. If you had to create a hilariously awful couple's name, combining your names together like Brangelina, what ridiculous combo would it be? That's from Samantha.
Jelly?
Quali?
Hold on. DJ and Kelly would be D-Jelly. D-Jelly sounds disgusting, doesn't it?
These nuts.
D-Jelly.
That's a tough one.
You got your D-Jelly all over me.
Kel-J?
Oh, Kel-J's good.
Kel-J.
Kel-J sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean, then you sound like a DJ and then I sound like a rapper.
What was J-Lo's and Ben Affleck's?
Benifer.
Benifer. It's not clever, is it?
Yeah, I thought Kel-J is better than Benifer.
Kel-J is good. It would be Kel-J. Who asked us that?
Samantha. But what about Deli?
Deli.
Oh, Deli is good.
Yeah, Deli. Yeah, Delly.
Yeah, Deli's good. I like Deli.
Okay.
We're Deli.
Just because we want sandwiches.
Yeah, but also, it gives me top billing.
Yeah, I knew that Kel-J would be a tough transition for you.
But all these things like Dear Kelly and DJ, the show is called.
Well, probably because they know that the emails would be coming to me. I would be compiling them. I think they're addressing the person who's
I've read an email before. How many unanswered emails are on your phone right now?
7,820.
I only have 747. I'm a better email reader than you are.
No, my problem is I have
you don't open all the spam.
Well, I just have avoidance issues, and so I'm one of those people that, like, if I have a notification, I need to check it all the time. And I used to be somebody who's like, if I had an Instagram message, I would check it right away and I would respond, and I got forced to respond to all of these things that I just didn't have time for or want to respond to. And so I would let things like kind of build up, but then now the problem is my anxiety gets so bad when things build up that I will just avoid it completely.
Exactly.
I'm like, this is too much to handle now.
It also tells me that you're not worried about your dick size or increasing it, because I open all those emails.
Well,
85% of my emails are
email
that.
has gotten so fucking insane. Like, you buy a mattress and then they send you a fucking email a week for a discount code. I don't need more mattresses for 15 years.
Really fascinating to me is that the moment I buy something, like, you're too late.
It's always the big purchases too. It's like, you want another credenza? I'm like, where am I supposed to put all these credenzas?
We were talking about this the other day. I asked Kelly if she was getting a bunch of, that nudes hair remover thing. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering if I was being targeted. But they've done.
They know about my ass.
They've done such. It's like a photo of it's like a picture of a peach, and they're putting the nudes thing over the peach, and it's to get the hair out of your ass crack, or like the hair over your balls or whatever. And it's really like, I want it. Like, I never even had a problem with my ass crack hair or my ball hair. And now I want this because the other day I was like, maybe shaving your balls is too hard, and I shouldn't have to deal with that anymore in whatever year this is.
Yeah.
2024.
I have a handheld laser hair removal thing.
Does it work?
I'll find it. I mean, remember, I have blonde hair.
Oh, yeah, you have blonde hair. And this, I saw on the internet that this, and so it must be true, that it targets the melanin in the hair follicle. And so if you have dark hair, it works better.
Yeah. So yeah, darker hair, the better. Blondes, I've tried to go to like laser hair removal a billion times. They're like, your hair is too light. I'm like, ugh. So now I just free ball it.
But it's funny because I wasn't intolerant of this before, but now I'm becoming intolerant of it because nudes told me that it's not a desirable trait.
It is incredible what society can make you feel insecure about. Like, I've seen videos where people are just telling a story on TikTok, right? And then somebody's like, "Whoa, your eye does this weird thing," and this person's like, "I've literally never noticed this about myself, and it's the only thing I can think of now." And I'm like, imagine being the person who is now alerted this person to an insecurity that they're gonna have forever. Don't be that guy.
I wonder if it's my friend.
It probably. You're lazy. You're lazy, and your eye looks
Maybe
weird.
It's Steve.
It's Steve. It's definitely Steve.
Wait, who is Steve again?
Steve's just the name I made up for my bad brain thoughts.
Oh yeah,
when
Steve.
My brain's being a dickhead.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Blame Steve.
Fuck Steve.
Fuck
dude.
Steve.
Fuck Steve.
Okay. Let's do one more question and close this up.
Great. Let's see.
This one from Kayla right here.
Sure.
Love the podcast. You two clearly have such a strong friendship and can open up to each other. How do you nurture honesty and vulnerability in your platonic relationships? That's from Kayla.
Oh, we fuck.
A little suck, a little fuck.
No.
I mean, we just had a very open, like, that is how our conversations go. We listen to each other. We care about each other. But one of the things I'll say is, like, sometimes when like, if anybody else said some of the things you say to me when you're joking and I didn't feel that deep of a connection, there are things that I could take offense to or like get bumped by. But I know you love me so much that you're never actually being malicious to me.
Oh my God, what's his name?
No, not at all. No, it's a weird sense of security when you know that the other person really does have your best interest at heart. They don't have any like ill feelings towards you. Cause like, you know, when you have a tinge that somebody thinks a certain thing of you and then they make a snide comment and you go, and they're like, I'm joking. And you're like, no, I know that's
you're filtering it through
anchored in truth.
You're wisely filtering it through past behavior.
Exactly.
Wisely.
So those comments really fucking get to me. And a lot of times it could be like family or something like that. And you're like, you don't get to say that about me. I don't feel safe here because I already know your feelings about this, but I don't feel that with you where it's like,
I would hate to be your bad memory.
I'm such a sensitive person, and there's nothing that you've ever said that has gone, oh God, I think DJ doesn't like me.
Oh God, I would want to know.
No,
about
I know, but obviously I would tell you that because we have that ability to have those conversations.
But also, I think another reason is because it is platonic, and so I would encourage everybody out there in relationships. Don't let your relationship take away your friendships. You need an outlet. You need a life of your own. You need a life outside of your relationship because you can be honest with. Sometimes you just need a different place of honesty, and it's a different kind of honesty. Mm-hmm. And because it's not sexually based or like we've got a mortgage in common, that creates an expense to honesty. Yep. And, you know, I do think in relationships, a lot of times you have to pick and choose your battles.
For sure. And
learn to deal with things that are not abusive, but things that irk you a little bit. Because you can get into a pattern in relationships where romantic relationships, where if you deal with every little thing, that nothing has weight to it.
Right.
So the big stuff has to carry more weight because you have a common goal together, and there's probably kids involved. You poor people. I've gotten over my baby fever as of late. I really realize that it's a blessing that I don't have them. I'm not the right temperament for it.
You are not the right temperament. You can't be like, I haven't eaten yet. Shut the fuck up.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I was gonna add on to that. Fuck. Now I forgot what it was. Whatever. Who cares? It probably wasn't important.
I thought it was important.
Oh, well, when it comes to platonic friendships, there are so many people who talk about like, oh, men and women can't be friends. And to me, that's such a crime. Like, it's a crime to encourage people not to have good friends of the opposite sex. Like, Stan has been one of my best friends for such a long time. And people always assume that because we're so close that we must have hooked up before or we must have some sort of secret relationship or whatever. And the value is I get the guy's perspective on these things. He gets my perspective. And there are so many conversations that happen around things that we're like, oh, I didn't think about, it's like those types of things. You need that perspective. If your partner doesn't want you being friends with the opposite sex, that's a problem.
Did you see this video that was on the internet that's going around? It's a guy who's pretending that he's on crutches and he can't get his shoe on, and all these people pass, and this girl is walking with this guy, and she sees him, she comes over and puts his shoe on and ties it for them, and then he gives her a gift, and the guy's walking toward the camera, and they're behind walking in a different direction, and the boyfriend takes it out of her hand, puts it up, and then basically gives her like, I can't believe you tied another man's shoe look. And all the comments thankfully were that you need to dump this guy, he does not have your best interest at heart, he doesn't want you to be a person. But then there were a couple of trolls doing this. If my woman tied somebody else's shoe, I would dump her.
Yeah, because they view people as property.
It's so crazy to me.
It's the weird, like, to me, if I were to ever start dating again, I couldn't date a guy who didn't have friends that were women. To me, it's a red flag to not have, because sometimes the only empathy that these guys are even able to get about women is because they're like, oh, my sister or my mom or my friend or whatever. Like, I need you to have women in your circle telling you about their experiences, so that you can be like, oh shit, I didn't think about
because men and women definitely think differently.
Yes.
And And also one of the things that Kelly and I have in common that really bonds us, and this was Kelly and I talked about this the other day, and this was Kelly's joke, but I'm going to say it, is that our favorite sexual position is you go sit over there. Because I was talking, I was like,
me later.
I was like, my favorite thing about sex is thinking about sex and then saying, go sit over there. And you're like, that's my favorite sexual position. So that bonds us.
Cargo panties.
Yeah, cargo panties. We were talking about the Quakers the other day, and I was
No, we were talking about like 1930s.
Oh, 1930s.
Like transatlantic.
Oh, right.
Or no, we were actually it started that way.
We were watching we were watching the Dodger news, and Jerry Hairston Jr. has hair like the 1920s. And I was trying to show Kelly, but they wouldn't cut back to him. And then suddenly we started talking about the 1920s. Oh yeah, that song, "Take Your Girlie to the Movies if you can't make love at home." And I'm like, I was like, you know what that means, right? And you're like, so they could do it in the movie theater? I was like, no, so he could nuzzle her neck and look at her ankle, because there was no internet porn, so the threshold for excitement was really low. And then we were talking about how difficult it would be to have sex.
We were talking about then the
1920s.
1800s.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, imagine having sex in the 1800s. Like there's so many clothes
Everybody
to take off. Everybody
smells
smells.
bad.
It's like you get your clothes off and you're like, I'm tired. Maybe tomorrow.
And then I was like, underwear back then had pockets in it. And then Kelly said,
Cargo panties.
cargo panties.
And that's all for
What
today.
a great
folks.
idea. Thanks, guys. Thank you for joining us. The live feed of this with interruptions and pictures of my penis will be available on our Patreon.
Patreon.com/loadedpod.
And if not, we're available for download. Oh, well, actually, why am I saying this? Because the download stuff, because you already know, because you're here. Bye.
Sit on down and pour yourself a glass.
And tune into your favorite podcast.
Where things will be misquoted.
And opinions ain't sugar-coated.
'Cause DJ and Kelly are locked and probably loaded.
Yeehaw!